Hello, my name is Jack Hirabayashi. This is my long term care administration internship class oral report. It's class number 5681 through Texas State University, Professor Todd McKenzie. I'll just start out by briefly going over the past 2 semesters internship. This was a 1,000 hour internship to be eligible to get licensed as a long term care administrator in the state of Texas. The program started back in August. It's now currently the beginning of April. And overall, it was one of the most valuable career uh, programs I've ever been through, actually, the most valuable. Uh, a lot of the time spent over the past 2 semesters was basically shadowing the administrator and learning everything there is to know about long term care administration and being an administrator in a long term care facility. I say everything there is to know, but in reality, this one thing I learned through this program is you'll never stop learning in this role. Um, my boss, the administrator overseeing my internship, is still learning every single day, every week, every month, and he feels like he's got another 5 to 10 years before he really feels confident in his knowledge in the field. So it's definitely something that is always changing with the regulations, with the conditions, and the residents. Everything about this job role is changing on a daily basis, and you really have to learn how to adapt to that change. So I learned a lot about that. I spent time doing a rotation in each department at the facility while managing the nutrition department. I had a lot of support from my fellow coworkers, especially the department heads who took me under their wing and showed me everything about their day to day job duties and went down job descriptions, learning about all of the different roles that the administrator oversees in these facilities. I had a lot of good opportunities as far as actually covering these roles through people being on vacation or being sick, things like that. I usually was the one that would fill in for them just so that I could learn about the job and get a firsthand experience of the job. My most valuable learning experiences throughout the program came from early morning meetings with the administrator. Myself and the administrator both find the early morning hours to be the most beneficial throughout the day, where we're the most productive and get the most done. So these early mornings starting at 5:30, 6 a.m., leading to 8:30, we would recap the prior day by reading the 24-hour report. We would prep for the day of, go over schedules, see what's planned for the day, what we want to accomplish. It was very systematic, and I really appreciated the effort that Price Miller, my administrator, put into my training. I also got great support from the staff that I manage in making sure I had adequate time to focus on training. A lot of my job duties were picked up by other people so that I could continue my learning, which was greatly appreciated throughout the program. I started my journey into the program sort of uh, not sure of what the program would be like. I wasn't sure how much effort the company would put into my training, the school, my administrator, myself. So it was very early on into the training that I realized everybody was rooting for me and everybody was willing to help. So that was really good to a really good realization to have. And it came very quickly. I started the program in August. So by November, I already felt like I had learned so much. And then from there, it just compounded and escalated. I just learned more and more and more each day that the program went on over the past 2 semesters. I felt like I was building upon my prior learning experiences and just experience in general working in the facility. I took sort of an untraditional route into the long term care administration program, coming up from the dietary department or nutrition department. I had a very specific viewpoint of facilities, long term care facilities, being kind of back of house. So I feel like I got a unique viewpoint of these facilities, having started in the back of house, worked my way to the front of house, and then everywhere in between. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity that was presented to me, or that I seeked out. It's not easy finding these internship programs to do. So I feel fortunate. I felt fortunate the whole time. And now that we're towards the end of it, I couldn't be happier with the experience I had overall. And I just want to say thank you to my preceptor, Todd McKenzie, my administrator, all of the department heads, all of the staff in the building, and the company for supporting me through this journey. There's a lot more I could say on the program itself, but now I'll get into my final project that I've been working on since the first semester. Uh, the title of my project is Utilizing Technology to Improve Long Term Care. I picked this topic because I do believe that there's uh, a lot of improvement to be made in long term care when it comes to the use of technology. Now, I feel like COVID helped accelerate some of that implementation of technology and utilization. But now that COVID has ended, I get the feeling that nursing facilities, nursing homes around the country, around the world, are falling back into their bad habits of not making this a focus. So that's why I wanted to write my paper on the utilization of technology to improve long term care. I see technology being able to greatly improve the experience for residents that are residing in nursing homes. I see it improving the care and especially the results of the care. Uh, Reduced RTAs, better reviews, better resident satisfaction, better staff satisfaction. I mean, I think that the opportunities to improve long term care are endless when it comes to the use of new technologies that are hitting the market or that have been around that haven't been implemented into nursing homes. I feel that as though specifically acute care hospital settings, emergency rooms are far more technologically advanced than nursing homes. The hospital acute care industry has kept up with these new technologies. They've been implementing them throughout the years as new technologies have come out. They have made it a focus in all aspects of the operation to implement technology to make it easier on everybody involved and to produce better results for the industry. And so the goal of this paper is to make the argument that despite the barriers to entry to implementing these technologies, the benefits far outweigh the cons, the costs, the lack of knowledge, all of those things can be negated by the benefits of using these technologies. Uh, so the growing elderly population of today is much different than the previous generation. The people that you see, the residents you see in nursing homes today have cell phones, they have laptops, tablets, smart TVs, smart home devices, video chatting capabilities. They are used to using telehealth, and they're overall much more technologically advanced and savvy than previous generations of residents. So, with that being said, the nursing home that they are being admitted to and will be residing in should be up to speed with what they're used to having at their home. The goal of a lot of long term care facilities is to make it a home like experience. And if a resident is used to having a big smart TV at home, smart home devices such as Google Home or uh, Alexa, then they should also have those available to them in their rooms. Now, from a technology standpoint, the AI, robotics, and the Internet of Things I see all being key factors in providing the best care in these facilities in the future. These technologies offer solutions to many of the challenges that nursing homes face around the country, especially with the staff. And I think that using these different technologies will better serve the residents in the long run. Of course, all nursing homes are always looking to increase resident satisfaction while reducing costs. However, they're often complacent and stuck in the past. Throughout my experience in this program, but also before the program, I've seen many examples of nursing homes being stuck in the past. And I think it's a problem that should be addressed and should be a focus for corporations moving forward. Uh, it's not uncommon to see patient families or patients themselves have their own kind of monitoring systems where they've got video recording capabilities, audio recording capabilities. There's life alert necklaces. There's all types of technology that, because nursing homes aren't being proactive and staying on the leading edge of implementing these new technologies, the residents and families are having to do so themselves, which is where I see the problem being. There's many different technologies available to better take care of residents and improve the experience for residents, and not many of them have been implemented widespread throughout nursing homes yet. So that's what I'm hoping to make the case for, and what I see the future being for long term care. The goals of this study will be to investigate the types of technology being currently used in long term care, examine the advantages and challenges associated with these technologies, and provide practical recommendations on how facilities can effectively integrate technologies to improve resident care. I used a different methodology to conduct this research. I first used a literature review summarizing existing studies, reports, and articles. I also used case studies to examine real world examples of facilities that have successfully adopted technology. And I also conducted interviews with staff in the building to get their opinion on what technologies are currently benefiting them, what technologies will benefit them in the future, and how technology can improve their jobs and the care that they're able to give. The most of the research done on this topic, on the topic of the implementation of technology in long term care, is either too little amount of it, there's not very much research done on this topic, or it's focused on the hospital setting. So long term care has kind of been forgotten about throughout my research. I noticed it's hard to find good, solid research of technology improving resident care. So I did find that to be an issue throughout this research. There's a lot of concerns when it comes to implementing new technologies, such as HIPAA laws, patient rights to privacy. There's issues with knowledge, just people not knowing how to utilize technology to the best of their ability and to improve. Uh, a lot of people see technology as a burden instead of a resource and an asset. So I found that to be a problem. But there are successful studies that show the implementation of technology being beneficial to resident care, staff satisfaction, and the overall operation of the buildings. Simple things like checking vitals, looking for changes in condition, and providing them with nutrition and activities are all parts of daily job duties for staff working in nursing homes. According to Sherashrov, documentation of visits, observations, medication administration, and other interventions must be meticulously maintained, which is time consuming and can divert staff from direct patient care. So, the bottom line is staff working in a nursing home has enough on their plate. There's no reason to make things any harder on them. It should be made easier on them. The lower of a workload that an individual staff member has, the better results they can provide to the residents as far as the care goes. And so, anytime technology can be implemented to ease the workload of a staff member, will ultimately directly result in the improvement of resident care and staff satisfaction. And technology is that bridge that will bridge the gap between the overworked staff and the undercared for residents. I also did focused on some case studies. So there was a Chinese facility, two Chinese facilities that had successfully implemented some new technologies into their long term care settings. But they did bring up a valid point that it can't be just nursing homes alone focused on solving this issue. It's got to be governments, the tech companies themselves, the nursing home companies all have to work together to accomplish this goal of implementing these technologies. The government funding is where a big part of the revenue for long-term care facilities come from. So they're not able to invest in a ton of infrastructure to for this technology, and so they need the government's help for funding. There needs to be lobbying efforts to increase funding to increase the technology usage in these nursing homes, and there overall needs to be a strategic approach with multiple industries and organizations to make this happen. The staff interviews I did at the facility Coronado in San Antonio included three people that I interviewed and asked three questions each. So the first one was a certified nurse aide, the second one was the administrator, and the third one was an RN. I picked these three positions because I felt like they were key positions that would give me the best insights into uh, technology and how it plays a part in their day to day job activities. And I felt like they would be able to give me the best uh, just overall insights on technology utilization and implementation in the facility. So the questions I asked were, what technologies are you currently benefiting from your job in your job? How do you see technologies improving resident care? And do you believe the benefits of technology in nursing homes outweigh the cons? On the third question, do you believe the benefits of technology in nursing homes outweigh the cons? Every respondent said yes. And I found that not surprising whatsoever. I could say the same from my experience working in nursing homes. Technology has definitely improved the experience. The electronic health reporting systems are a major part of the operation that almost all staff utilizes. The overall responses I got from this study and these interviews were extremely beneficial to my research. Overall, there are many issues with implementing these technologies that I became aware of. Going into the study, I sort of figured that there's no excuse for the lack of technology implementation in long term care. But throughout the study, I came to the realization that actually there's quite a lot of red tape issues, there's quite a lot of experience and knowledge issues, there's more barriers to entry than I realized going into this study. But with that being said, the end payoff is well worth overcoming these barriers of entry. The cost associated with implementing these technologies would be offset by the benefits. The knowledge is something that can be overcome through training, and overall it's still my viewpoint at the end of this research that utilizing technology in long-term care is beneficial. The critique I have on this research is the lack of relevant studies that have been done on the implementation of technology in nursing homes. I feel as though I also could have interviewed a larger sample of industry staff. Instead of just doing an RN, an administrator, and a CNA, I wish I could have had a pool of thousands of different staff members working in nursing homes to ask them those three questions, but I didn't. I also wish I could talk to some industry leaders in the field who are familiar with implementing new technologies into these facilities, but I was unable to do so. So that's my wrap up of my research project for the long term care administration class through Texas State University. This is the final report and the final part of the class for me. And I had a great experience throughout the program. I've grown a lot as a person, and I'm very grateful for the time over the past 8, 9 months that I've had working at the facility and attending Texas State. That's all I've got. This is Jack Hirabayashi signing out.